Yes.
just fucking hungry, dude.
Yes. And I have a giant tube steak to sell you.
Well, I need more meat than that you can offer.
You need more than a pound?
That ain't a pound, dude. I've seen it up close and personal. But
Mm,
that's why I did that tri-tip yesterday. Was my trainer had I was talking to my trainer about what can I eat in preparation for the liquid diet day, cleanse day, pre-surgery, and like meat. Now's your chance. Because I've been kind of cutting back on red meat and stuff like that. Now's your chance. Just do that. You can eat all the meat you want and yada yada. So I did a 3 pound smoked tri-tip yesterday, and oh, it was so good.
so you do need more than a pound.
Yeah.
Dude, have you ever considered amino acids?
No, I don't need the supplement stuff. This was
No.
just basically to keep my, so my stomach wouldn't be as grumbly.
I understand that, right? Okay. So you need to, and it's just, and this is so I understand. So you're going under the knife, and because you're going under the knife, you can't have food in your stomach, right?
No, that would just be I just can't have any several hours, but I'm getting scoped also. So not only I have to, so that's why I have to fast all day today,
Mm-hmm.
and we're recording this early. If you can see the light in Jake's room, um, we're recording this quite a bit earlier because when we be recording, I'm probably going to have to live in the bathroom because around 5 o'clock tonight I got to start drinking this nasty shit that's going to clean out my system.
But you could still drink liquids, right?
Yep. Yeah, I've been drinking like chicken broth and stuff like that. So
So
eating Jello. I'm so fucking sick of Jello already, dude. It hasn't even been a full fucking day, and I'm sick of Jello.
hmm. I mean, if you could drink alcohol, right? Because you haven't drank since whenever. Like you could drink beer. Well, you had some beers a couple weeks ago, didn't you?
I had a beer. They I asked about that because when in my younger years, I sat there and I could drink all day long. If I'm drinking beer, it keeps me bloated and I don't feel hungry. And I did ask about that, and because of the surgery and anesthesia, well, technically yes, that's a clear liquid and it won't mess up the scoping and all that, but it's really, really highly advised against because I'm going to be having anesthesia.
Right.
So,
Okay. I mean,
but
but
anyhow,
but if you use the golden rule, right? Like one drink per hour, then if your surgery is like 4 hours away, you could drink 4 beers, and you'd be good.
now they don't want alcohol in my system at all.
Mm. Oh yeah.
But anyhow,
I guess your liver just
welcome,
doesn't work. Fuck
welcome
your.
to the show.
Yeah. Hey. Thank you for tuning in the show. I'm Jake,
I'm Drake.
from the Jake and Drake Show, and
And I'm
uh,
about to get my
very glad
extra
to have you here.
asshole removed.
And yes, yes, to be a little bit more blunt, back to your asshole. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah,
that's
amino acids though, like okay, check it out, hear me. So you're kind of fasting, and you're you're drinking fluids and you're wasting away, but like amino acids are they're just like little building blocks of protein. That's all they are. Like you can pop some here and there between the chicken broth. I don't know. Keep you toned up,
well,
nice and
their
toned up.
office is closed. Their office is closed, so I can't call them and ask them now.
Yeah.
But I've been drinking chicken broth. I've been drinking ginger ale. I've been eating fucking goddamn Jello. So sick of Jello already. And it feels good for a moment, but then like a minute later it dissolves and I'm like hungry again. Worse
Yeah.
than Chinese food, man.
Well, see, at least with the Chinese food, you get like that. At least me, you get that flush out within an hour, right?
Oh, I'm gonna get the flesh out tonight.
What do you
That's
mean?
that's the I've got a gallon jug of something I'm supposed to drink.
Oh yeah, but you gotta. I'm saying like at least with the Chinese food, like this chicken broth and everything, like you're just pissing, right? Like you're,
Yeah.
but the Chinese food, like you're pissing out of both orifices, right?
Yep.
your dick hole and your butthole. So, um, but yeah, yeah, fun times. How long are you supposed to be under?
Not sure. I think, I mean, the scope, they're doing actually technically two separate procedures and two different doctors are involved in it. I just kind of stacked them together so I only have to be put under once. So, I mean, there's a slim chance of dying in that. And while it's not high, it's still not zero. So why get put under more than I need to?
Mm-hmm.
So stacked up the procedures. So they're going to scope me, check for anything that's, make confirm basically that the my GI bleed was an internal hemorrhoid and not something worse, like that got my dad, and then do the surgery and remove my extra asshole.
uh, oh. Good luck with that, dude. Good luck with that. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure maybe not everybody in the channel can do the same. Oh,
My Discord just completely crashed.
I was like, is that you or me? And I'm like, what is
No,
going
that was
on?
my Discord just poof.
Uh,
All right. Well, anyhow,
yeah, yeah. So I wish you the best of luck. I don't think everybody in the community would do the same, but maybe they would.
I'm sure we've got at least one hate follow.
Mm, hating. I love it. Yes, yes. Let the hate flow through you. Smash that dislike button.
I can think of
Um,
one dipshit, but
I guess you're assuming that that dipshit watches the videos on a regular.
probably not.
Speaking of
Probably,
hating,
probably too busy jerking himself off. Anyhow,
yeah.
so that's my plans for the week. I'm gonna have surgery tomorrow and pretty much be drugged up the rest of the week.
Mm. Which is funny because I that's Sunday. That's when my dad and Tiffany's family's coming over. So the rest of her
That's,
family that's gonna visit. So probably won't get anything done till like maybe Monday afternoon or Tuesday. If you're still conscious, if you're able to, we'll see. Because I thought it was this weekend, but it's next weekend. So that's why we're here this weekend, and we're here early because of you. So yeah, yeah.
honestly, I forgot about that.
Mm.
In the retrospect, I do remember it being this weekend.
That's what I
But
thought. But it's Father's Day weekend.
yeah, we'll just record early.
Well, we
So
can we can
you
do
can
it.
sneak off for a long shit and you know just grab the newspaper. I got to go take care of the something, and I got to drop the kids off at the pool,
I gotta go to the
and then close
library.
up the door and start recording. But
Uh,
anyhow, so yeah,
anyhow,
that's my plan for the week. Is going to basically be back bedridden for a week and
mm,
hating life.
so yeah, that's funny that you mentioned the hate. So you were alluding to pre-show about um not getting to say exactly what you want to say.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. I'm a good citizen. I only repeat what the government tells me to.
Yeah, you're a bad man. So yeah, just go ahead and tell the viewers or the listeners what exactly you were talking about because I thought it was a very good point to bring up.
Just I mean, with all the craziness on social media and people being demonetized and people being having their videos and stuff deleted just because they express something that goes against the um current narrative. uh it's bullshit. I mean, in fact, I was just reading about this one guy. I can't remember his name. Dr. Shiva. uh, Dr. Shiva. He basically is suing Twitter and a bunch of things and stuff because they have this. Well, it's called the Elections Interference Operations Playbook for state and local officials, and basically it says target people with dissenting opinions and silence them, and how to do it and shit like that. So it's a way that the government, you say that yeah, okay, Twitter is a private company, so your First Amendment doesn't apply there. Well, if the government is saying, you're only going to get to keep your Section 230 protection if you do this,
Basically, make
then
yourself a public company, a public
yeah,
forum.
yeah, so then they're forcing them to censor and stuff, using it as a tool to censor. So it's just all bullshit. Um, I really am fed up with censorship. So I miss, I'm going to sound like, okay, boomer, whatever. I miss the old days of the internet, the Wild West days of the internet, as people call it, just where you put up a website with whatever the fuck you wanted, and no matter how wackadoo you seemed, um, and people could come to your site and read your wackadoo bullshit or not, and that's just how it was. But now with
Hmm.
social media and the centralization of your voice and power, even Google with like the search engine algorithm. I miss the old Google, which was just these are sites. You type in the words you want to look for, and these are the sites that have it. Like when I searched for that specifically, elections interference operations playbook for state and local officials, those words were in an article in the um, Montana Daily Gazette and the North Carolina Daily Gazette, or NC Daily Gazette. None of the articles came up. I put quotes around it, and then I started actually seeing what I was looking for. So Google, in its oh, we're just trying to help you find what you're looking for and protect you from misinformation, is really just censoring and deciding what is going to allow you to find and see.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I'm fed up. I miss the old days of the Wild West internet, where when Google was great. You type in what you're looking for and you come up with sites and be all full of the weird shit that and crazy fucking tinfoil hat conspiracies and so on. And that was it. But now, type the shit in and you find what they want you to read.
Bring back Jinx or Jeeves. Ask
Ask
Jeeves.
Jeeves. Ask Jeeves was garbage.
I'm just saying, like, it was honest.
Actually, they were one of the first ones to kind of try to do that whole what you're looking for thing. Um, Yahoo was pretty good for a while,
Hmm.
but it's kind of gone to shit. All of them, frankly, all of them are doing the same kind of thing, trying to,
Monopolize off
because
of information and
yeah, and monetize. And I understand that. These are companies that got to make money to stay in operation, but fuck. Google could easily offer a unfiltered version, just, this is, the raw version, and that's it. And be
kind of like
beautiful.
like the safe search. You know how Google has a safe search option.
Mhm.
So like you should be able to turn on or turn off depending on way it's worded, but you should be able to just or maybe give you like a, I don't know if there's a web browser out there that's like just the dark web. Like you could just go out there and just deep sea fish, bro. Whatever I type in the word butthole, and whatever pops up. It's not like Google. It's not Wikipedia. It's not promoted links. It's just and it's up to you as the individual to journey as far down the hole as you see fit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's, like I said, that's what I miss about the Wild West internet days with social media. And again, I'm coming back to social media. Social media is probably the worst thing that's really happened to our society. Just it's horrible.
Well, I agree, but I don't think social media was the reason. Like, I think social media probably expedited that, like data collecting, data mining, and
Well, not even that though. It's just with the social media companies
mhm,
consolidate the information. So, oh well, I'm on Facebook, and oh, so this company does all that stuff on Facebook. Well, they're not getting my business because I refuse to use Facebook.
mhm,
Um, you know, but the social media companies have this information and keep you in their environment and make it more difficult for people outside of the environment because they want to draw you in to use their product. The Wild West internet days, you go to a fucking website,
mhm,
the old World Wide Web, www blah blah blah. You throw up a fucking website, you know, geoshitties.com/ why wear a tinfoil hat slash, you know, whatever.
mhm.
And you just put your shit out there. And then you find it with a real search engine that actually searches and finds what you look for and doesn't try to present to you based on what fucking they've learned about you and whatnot.
You know what I really, what I think what I dislike the most, right, is what you're talking about is that I think okay, I can agree that social media is generally initially it was positive, but it's a lot more toxic than it is positive. Even there's studies out there that basically say that social media causes more depression because with the advent of social media, like I can just put everything positive that happens in my life, right? Like you don't see anything. Remember how we talked about earlier? It's like when you have that thing, you cherry pick what you want to see, and if you don't like it, you turn it off, right? But in the same sense, like you go and I look at maybe an old classmate or an old colleague or army buddy or something, and maybe they're living their best life, and that's all I know. And so I mean there's a lot of disadvantages with the social media, but what I dislike with it the most is because it's become so politicized, right? It's and I think that's kind of where where I'm trying to like draw a parallel to what you're saying with like the hiding of information, or oh, do you sure you didn't mean this, or I can't find it, you have to use parentheses or commas or apostrophes or periods or fucking who knows what you need to use to find what you're looking for. But it's like all the for all the goods and the bads of the two party system, it's all propagated towards one side. Like even as like someone that's somewhere in the middle, like ergo a libertarian, like you can't go on there and basically you cannot find what you want to find to see what the facts are, or maybe what dissenting opinions are, because free speech, man. I have the right to lie. People don't understand that, or maybe they do and they don't care. Or I have the right to hate speech because hate speech is free speech. So there's a lot of speech that's out there that they just, unless it is
Suppress.
yeah, it's suppressed. So if I have an opinion and my opinion is that like the vaccination is bullshit, or why aren't we trying, I mean, dude, like modern medicine has been around since like that like World War II. We basically had 60, 70, 80 years of modern medicine, vaccines, chemotherapy, different types of surgeries and different types of devices. And you're telling me that like in 80 years you can't turn around and look at something like we've already created, and you can't say, well, this is a virus, and this virus is bad and these are the characteristics. It attacks this and the inflammation and blah blah blah. And let's, instead of like creating a new treatment, or instead of you know giving billions of dollars to big pharma, why don't we look at other shit? And then automatically, because it's so politicized, it's just axed, or you're canceled, or you're suppressed, or
Well, yeah, like those studies coming out about the hydroxychloroquine
Hmm.
or whatever. There's more and more studies coming out saying yes, that
And
taken
and
reduces the
and
symptoms
zinc
and
plus zinc.
zinc
Yeah,
reduces the symptoms and increases the survivability rate.
but you have to take
Well,
it within a certain time period.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
I'm just glossing over.
Glossing
I'm
over.
not providing any medical information that would get us fucking banned.
We are not doctors. We are not doctors, and we're just what we have read and heard.
But studies are coming out about that now, and the fact that Trump said blah blah blah, take this is shows promise and whatnot, and I'm sure the fact that that's not controlled by a new patent that's going to make big pharma a lot of money.
Exactly. I think
So
that's a
that's
huge
I'm
part.
sure it's part of it, but that's one of the reasons for the pushback. But another big reason for the pushback was because Trump said it, Trump supported it,
Hmm.
and sure, Trump's a dipshit, but that's beside the point. If this fucking works, fucking take it,
Agreed.
you
100%.
know, and just don't oppose it just because the dipshit in office now says it's good and you don't like him,
Hmm.
and that goes for both sides of things.
Agreed. But yeah, like
Just
that example in itself of, I mean, because there's a lot of other things out there that were like suppressed as far as information. You got Hunter, Joe Biden, all that information was being suppressed, and it's all one political party. Like politics is a dirty game, and if like the right wing had control of some of the social media and they were blocking some shit, like they'd both be wallowing in the mud together. But at least I would feel okay. Yeah, there's bullshit on both sides, but in this instance, like, because we all know there's bullshit on both sides, and I will totally agree with you. There's a lot of shitheads on both sides with a lot of bullshit on both sides, but like in this particular uh, subset of everything that's out there, everything is always on the left side. The left has the control of the media. They have the control of the social media. They have control of the Hollywood. They have control of the aristocrats. And it's just, it's really, what's the term I'm looking for? Um, I mean, I don't want to say bullshit, but it's bullshit. Like, there's no reason that I as an American with rights can't just fucking do what I want to do and look up what I want to look up or get the information I need. As long as I'm not fucking with your life, what does it matter? And who the hell are you, Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook? Who are you to tell me what's truth and what's like that's up to me. That's like the whole point of like, you know, basic life is you're out there finding your truth. You're out there finding what your purpose is. You're out there finding uh, maybe, your meaning or how to raise a kid or fucking how to not go crazy like that. Like who are these people telling you how to live your life? Like who the fuck is, George Clooney to tell me who I need to vote for? Who the fuck is Google to tell me that I wanted to find out about hydroxychloroquine? Or who's Twitter to ban somebody saying, tea leaves might help? Like I just and that's what I'm saying is like it troubles me. It's not that it troubles me, like you said, that I can't find it, but it troubles me even more is, like you said earlier, it's because Orange Man said it, and therefore, you know, we can't give the Orange Man a win. Does that seem right? Is that something you can get?
that's certainly part of it. They don't want to give them a win. Um, it's and once people start waking the fuck up and realizing that the Democrats and Republicans are working together against them, maybe shit'll change. But you
Plot
know,
twist, like the Matrix. Remember the Matrix, that movie?
yes,
There's that dude. His name is Cypher,
yes,
right? And he basically sells himself out, and he wants to be. He knows that everything's fake, and he just wants to be put back. I think there are. I mean, it's crazy, right? There's many crazy conspiracy theories. Like I really think people see what's going on with Joe Biden. I think they see what's going on with the Biden administration, the border, Israel, fuel, inflation. I think they see all this shit, and I think they just don't care. I think it's like they just it's their matrix. They're guys in office for the next 4 years, and as much as their lives suck or are inconvenienced or however it affects them, I just don't think they care. I think they're awoke enough. I think they're woke enough. I think they're awake. I think they know they're not that stupid, but I think there's a certain amount of like pride that you won't admit that you're a fucktard and you're putting everybody else through a lot of fucking misery just because you didn't like an orange man that said a lot of mean things on Twitter. So I think this is like these people living in their matrix. Like they oh okay, well at least he's not saying mean things. Like yes, $4 a gallon for gas, wars in the Middle East, inflation, less buying power. Um, yeah, at least you won. At least your guy won, and millions of illegal immigrants coming across the border. You got your win, and they don't care. I don't think they care.
Uh, I don't even know. I don't think they are that awake and realizing that both sides suck. Although I guess some of them
No,
are finally starting to like realize, uh, that Biden wasn't their friend. All the things that he promised and that they were sold on isn't happening. Um, I also think that a lot of the hot items and hot controversies that were going on don't matter to them anymore because Orange Man's out of office. Like the kids in cages. That was like every single day until Biden was elected, and now no one cares
mm.
except the fucking Republicans who are fucking being hypocritical about it because they gave no fucks when Trump was in office doing that.
Well, I will say that it wasn't that. Okay, so this rule of how they were separated, like well, not the separation thing came under the Obama administration, but putting people in cages came back like from the Clinton era. So back in the day, there was this guy named Bill Clinton, and
You know, I understand that. I'm not saying it was a Trump policy. What
no,
I'm saying is that you had at the time during Trump's presidency, the Democrats were all upset about kids in cages. Now they're quiet about it. But the Republicans, who gave no fucks during the Trump presidency, are like, oh, kids in cages.
I think they're only doing it because they're drawing the hypocrisy. I think there's a lot of the things, and I totally agree with you. Like the past 2 years, I was really not political motivated oriented, but I've been paying an extreme amount of attention like the last 2 years of Trump's presidency, and there were a lot of Republicans I thought were good people. Because I believe I'm a conservative, like, and the party that I have to pick is Republican or Libertarian, but definitely not Democrat. Okay, let's leave it at that. But as things went on, I realized more and more and more Republicans were swamp creatures too. Not all of them, but there were a lot of them that were. And what I will say is, I think what's going on with the Republicans is they're trying to point out hypocrisy, like that's going to matter to people that vote blue no matter who. Because I know people that vote blue no matter who, and that doesn't matter because they make a rule and then they change the rule and they make another rule and they keep and they don't care how many rules they break. Like that is what I have noticed. I have noticed that there's a Republican senator. He says some racist shit, and all the Republicans are like, "You are bad," and they primary him, and he's out. There's a Democrat that says like some racist shit, and they don't do shit. And so what I think is like the game that the Republicans play is like the game they play, and this is the best way I can explain is that it's like the old school duel. Like you and me line up back to back, we march 6 paces, and we have one bullet, and we turn around and shoot each other. And that's how the Republicans play politics. Like they play politics like there are rules, and the rules can't be violated, and if they're violated, then there's dire consequences. And the Democrats don't play that way. So I will admit there are plenty of fucking swamp creatures on the right hand side of the aisle, but they don't fight the same way that the Democrats do, and that's why the Democrats have just run roughshod because they change the culture, they change the language, they change the definition and meanings of things. They double speak, and they're hypocritical as hell. And yes, the Democrats have been silent, but the Republicans have been. But 2 years ago, it's not that the Republicans didn't care. It was that they did say, well, these cages were around when Obama was, then separation of parents and kids at migrant detention facilities was an Obama policy. But I don't think that. I just don't think that the Republicans are playing the same. Like the Republicans are playing fucking checkers and the Democrats are playing chess. Like they're just really good at race baiting and changing. That's just how I feel. And I agree. Like I said, there's dirty people on both sides, but I don't know, man.
I think the correct way to say that is both sides are fucking dirty.
Politics is a dirty game, though. It is.
So let's just do away with it all. Again, it's time for the great divorce.
Ah, great segue. I'm glad you brought that up. So I was trolling around the internet, as I do get the opportunity to do sometimes, and I found something. I'm going to read it. I don't think you'll agree with it completely. If I gave it a numerical value, I'd say about 75%. And it's the divorce agreement. So this is some lawyer. I can't exactly give full credit where credit is due, but some lawyer, I don't know if he passed the bar. I just know that he graduated. Like at the time he wrote this. In fact, this clip I read, it was superseded by a picture of it was preceded by a picture of the U.S. and this was during the 2016 election. Now I don't know I'm just giving you the synopsis. So somebody posted a picture of the United States in 2016 election, and by counties, and the counties were shaded, blue counties, dark blue counties, bright red counties, and kind of light blue, kind of light red. And if anybody ever checks that map out, like it would just, we have some friends that they just, well, we need to go to this and this, and that's another tangent. But the United States, like by county, is like 95% red. It is. But this is what the divorce agreement it says. Dear American liberals, leftists, social progressives, socialists, Marxists, and Obama supporters, et al. We have stuck together since the late 1950s for the sake of the kids. But the whole of this latest election process has made me realize that I want a divorce. I know we have tolerated each other for many years for the sake of future generations, but sadly, this relationship has clearly run its course. Our two ideological sides of America cannot and will not ever agree on what is right for us all, so let's just end it on friendly terms. We can smile, chalk it up as irreconcilable differences, and go our own way. Here is our separation agreement. Our two groups can equitably divide up the country by landmass, each taking a similar portion. That will be the difficult part, but I am sure our two sides can come to a friendly agreement. After that, it should be relatively easy. Our respective representatives can effortlessly divide our assets since both sides have such distinct and separate tastes. All right, so here's the bullet point. This is a list of bullets here. We don't like redistributive taxes, so you can keep them. You are welcome to the liberal judges and the ACLU. Since you hate guns and war, we'll take our firearms, the cops, the NRA, and the military. We'll take the nasty, smelly oil industry and the coal mines, and you can go with wind, solar, and biodiesel. You can keep Oprah, Whoopi, Bill Maher, Michael Moore, and Rosie O'Donnell. You are, however, responsible for finding a biodiesel vehicle big enough to fit all 5 of them. We'll keep capitalism, greedy corporations, pharmaceutical companies, Walmart, and Wall Street. You can have our beloved lifelong welfare dwellers, food stamps, homelessness, homeboys, hippies, druggies, and illegal aliens. We'll keep the hot Alaskan hockey moms. I don't know what that is. Greedy CEOs and rednecks. We'll keep Bill O'Reilly and Bibles and give you NBC and Hollywood. You can make nice with Iran and Palestine, and we'll retain the right to invade and hammer places that threaten us. You can have the peaceniks and the war protesters. When our allies of our way of life are under assault, we'll provide them security. We'll keep our Judeo Christian values. You are welcome to Islam, Scientology, humanism, political correctness, and Shirley MacLaine. You can also have the UN, but we will no longer be paying the bill. We'll keep the SUVs, pickup trucks, and oversized luxury cars. You can take every Volt and Leaf you can find. You can give everyone health care if you can find any practicing doctors. We'll keep the battle hymn of the Republic and the national anthem. I'm sure you'll be happy to substitute Imagine, I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing, Kumbaya, or We Are the World. We'll practice trickle-down economics, and you can continue to give trickle-up poverty your best shot. Since it often offends you, we'll keep our history, our name, and our flag. And that is sincerely John J. Wall, law student and American. Okay, there it is at the end, John J. Wall. And then I don't know. So there's a lot of things in there. I kind of feel, gives me kind of like that. And I know there's a lot of things in there. As I'm reading them or as I read them, I know that you're just like, nah, I wouldn't take that or I wouldn't take that. But I just thought it was very interesting since you keep talking about the Great Divorce.
Now, what needs to happen is people just need to leave each other the fuck alone. If I want to go out and live in the woods and homestead, don't charge me rent on property I own. You know, that's the kind of shit. We're all fucking tax slaves, dude. Is really what it comes down to. Is you know, we generate money for the government to spend on whatever the fuck it wants and further empower the elite. I mean, look at the G7 shit that's going on this weekend. You know, for the photo ops, they're all walking around. They've got masks on. They're elbow bumping. But as soon as the photo op time's done, they're actually meeting and talking. The masks are off, and they're shaking hands and hugging and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It's all bullshit. They're all bullshit. We're just fucking serfs to them. We are income. We are their slaves. They you know, the whole student loan debt stuff. Sure, if they cancel the student loan, all it's going to do is create another big tax burden that's going to have to be paid off, and the students will eventually have to fucking, you know, get their jobs and they'll be paying it off anyway. It's all bullshit. They just when I say the Great Divorce, I mean, no, I don't like war. I'm pretty anti-war. I think it's fucking bullshit that we're fucking invaders to those people. And you wonder why they're going to start, you know, be shooting at American troops because we're fucking in their country. If people invaded our country, I sure as shit would be shooting at them. So I can't really blame them for that. And so why are we over there? Because it protects our interests, it protects the dollar, you know, the whole world banks and monetary policy. No, just fucking leave us alone. That's what I mean by Great Divorce. Leave us the fuck alone. Break each state up, let them do each of their own things, or break up the country back into each individual state, and then the states can decide, and people can move from state to state to find which state that they want to live in, because based on their liberties and freedoms and whatnot. And eventually, when California gets too hungry because they don't know how to fucking grow their shit, because all the farmers and people have left and stopped farming and growing shit, then, you know, and they start trying to invade or what, you know, there'll be incursions and fights and stuff, but it's done, man. The empire is over. It was a failed experiment. People keep saying, you know, oh, democracy is at stake, blah blah blah. Democracy. We're a constitutional republic for starters, and the reason is a constitutional republic and we have the electoral college is so states like California, who have those high concentrations of population, can't decide what to do in my fucking state because we don't want your bullshit. So what needs to happen is they need to if they want to still have a unified monetary policy, go back to the gold standard. Go back to an actual standard and not just fucking make up money. Because every time they print fucking money, all they're doing, that's another tax essentially. They're just devaluing the money that you have, and well, they're basically taking it away. So yeah, I'm hangry, so don't mind me. I'm fucking starving. My stomach's growling. I want to eat a fucking steak. And
let's just talk about food for the next 30, 40 minutes. Yeah. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get a go get a chicken shawarma out of the fridge. I'm gonna make an omelet.
I'm the guy, whoever wrote that. I mean, sure they presented it in a way that seems logical and whatnot, but no, I don't want fucking any of that shit. I don't want Bill O'Reilly or.
No, it is a bit dated, dude. It is like that.
No, okay, whatever. But I don't want any of those celebrities. I don't want trickle down economics. I don't want any of that shit either. I want to be left the fuck alone.
Well, you know what the concept of trickle down economics is, right? The concept, right?
I understand
you understand how it works in a perfect world. Okay, if it worked that way, a majority of the time, 75% of the time, that's pretty fucking ideal, though. Like you have somebody that has a lot of money, they start a business, and you have two options. We tax that business into oblivion, or we don't regulate them as much, we don't tax them as much, and the money that they save off of taxes, they invest in infrastructure, which creates jobs, or they hire more employees. So it essentially creates more jobs, and the more people that they employ, the more people are paying taxes. So essentially it would benefit the government more to not tax the fuck out of a business, because they could hire more people, or they could pay them more wages. And if they pay them more wages to hire more people, then there's more money that the government gets from taxes, right? That's essentially how it's supposed to work, right? So in a perfect world, right? Like, because I don't think people understand that. People don't understand how it's supposed to work. Am I wrong? The concept.
As a general concept, yes, but it doesn't work that way, because the federal government takes that money and interferes. We don't have a free market. We don't live in a truly capitalistic society.
No, we don't.
We're in a society. We're in a corporatism world.
I was gonna say we're more socialist than we think we are.
And we are, but it's corporatism. The corporations have the power because it's been consolidated, and they've used the government to help stifle innovation and competition. If they didn't have, for instance, let's say Twitter, Google, all the social media companies and stuff did not have the Section 230 protection, they could get sued for the shit they pull, and would get sued for the shit they pull. So they either stop pulling it or deal with the lawsuits. They wouldn't have the government to, if we were in a truly capitalist society, we wouldn't be giving these pharmaceutical companies all this money to develop the COVID vaccine or any of this shit.
Yeah.
They develop what they develop.
Right. Right.
They would
see an opportunity to make a lot of money, and they'd be like, okay, because I think we gave them like $5 billion or something like that, something astronomical. They would invest their own $5 billion. Right.
So no, we the people were forced at gunpoint to give them $5 billion.
You know what I want to know, and I don't know, maybe you know. Was that $5 billion? Was that already appropriated? Like, example, like when Trump it was like when Trump was trying to find the money to build the wall.
I think that $5 billion was part of Trump's first stimulus package thing or whatever, or the not Fast and Furious, Operation Warp Speed.
So
thing.
Okay, so that was money that we just printed. That wasn't like because like I said, like Trump did with the wall, is he couldn't get the the House and the Senate to approve it. So I guess what he did was which he had the right to do, which a lot of people criticized him for, slandered the man even, is he pulled it as the executive branch. He pulled the money out of one pool of money that he gets every year for, I think it was like something for military and FEMA or some shit like that. And instead of using it, he's like, all right, well, if you're not going to get, there's this money that's laying over here. I'm just going to pull this money over here and throw it at the wall. So it was money that was already appropriated. It was money that was already accounted for via taxes. But you're saying that money we gave to Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson and Johnson, that was money.
Either way, the fucking any tax money is fucking taken from you
no,
at gunpoint.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, every year, if we didn't create any new programs, let's say every year, all the money we spend between national defense, social welfare programs, let's say it's like $6 trillion a year. Let's just say, okay. Now each one of those subsets, let's say for military, let's say it's like 50 billion out of 6 trillion, right? Now out of that 50 billion between all the branches, there's another subset which is for like maybe emergency funds. And I think that's what he pulled it from. So the money is already like, it is already earmarked to be spent unless they change the budget. So if from 2019 to 2020 they don't change the budget at all, it's still a $6 trillion budget taxed from the taxpayer, right? But 50 billion of that goes to the military, and out of that 50 billion, Air Force, Army, Marine Corps, Navy, they get 45 billion, and then there's another 5 billion that's like emergency funds. Now, obviously, if Trump is doing a good job as president and we're not going to war and we're pulling out of countries, or at least we're trying to, then we don't need to spend that emergency money. So what he did maybe, and that's what I'm saying, like, was that money already earmarked and not being used, and through his executive powers, he pulled it out? Or was that Operation Warp Speed, was that actually something, was that something he created? Was that a...
It's all fucking theft to me. So whether they took it before or, took it after, it's still taking your money they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But the Pakistani gender studies program got their money, so.
And the underwater shrimp. The shrimp that runs underwater on a treadmill. Like that Rand Paul guy, that guy you don't like too much. Like, you like Ron Paul, don't you? You're a Ron Paul guy.
I like his stuff for the most part, yeah.
So Rand Paul, even though he's not like a libertarian, the man is a doctor, and he has basically, he's tarred and feathered Fauci the best he can. But I think I saw, because I listen and I watch a lot, he went through a long list of government programs of money. Like, I think there was one where we were sending money to a group of people that were trying to decide if Neil Armstrong said, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And they were trying to figure out if he said like one small step for the man, or a man, or man. And I think we sent him that body, whatever, like $750,000. And the conclusion was inconclusive. And he was just outlining how stupid the fucking... Because if there's one thing, like, Rand Paul does complain very often about how much fucking debt we are going into. I would recommend, if you get the opportunity, Darian, is just follow the Forbes channel on YouTube. Anybody else watching, follow Forbes. And they're like a channel, like kind of like C-SPAN. They just have a camera sitting up in House committees, debates, and just recording the politicians arguing or lobbying other politicians to vote one way or the other. So it's not that adulterated bullshit you get on Facebook or Twitter. Like, you actually hear the uncut shit. You hear people call, you hear people vote, you hear all that shit. And yeah, it's usually shit I do while I'm watering the grass or mowing the lawn, because it's a little dry, but it gives me something to do while I'm doing something that doesn't require a lot of tedious thought. It's just point water at groundwater. That's pretty much all that does. So, but Rand Paul, I would give him another shake. He has taken Fauci to task, and he's taken this bullshit to task too. Like in fact, can you elaborate for me, like what it is you have against Rand Paul, if anything?
I don't have anything against him except he's a fucking politician. They're all fucking slimy.
But Ron Paul was a politician.
Yep. And that's why I'm not completely on board with him either. In fact, I'm not even on board with the Libertarian Party right now. I mean, some of the shit they're pulling. It's you were talking about fucking the Matrix and Cipher. I remember Morpheus had like the two pills. Well, I'm taking the black one. I'm done. I fucking hate them all.
That
I'm not. Let me here. So
Yeah.
here's one of those things that I got to carefully dance around.
Yes, you do.
Not that I would advocate anyone doing anything or taking action against any individual and violating the non-aggression principle. I would not shed a tear if the entire fucking Congress just was immediately wiped out.
Mars attacks. That happened.
Mars attack style. There you go. Whatever. Just the whole system is corrupt. This is unsavable. There's no point in trying to save it anymore. This is a failed fucking experiment.
How did we get here? How did we get here, dude? How did we get here?
Authoritarians, man. People who want to be in power are those that absolutely positively should not be in power. But we kept voting. And every 4 years or 8 years, we'd switch sides because the other side would vote harder. And and they're both the same fucking thing. We were played, the population, the citizens were played back and fucking forth. Oh, those guys are your enemies. Oh, no, those guys are your enemies. And the sheep aren't realizing that the reality is all of the politicians, both sides, Democrats, Republicans, they're your fucking enemies. What it is, man. Now we've got we've got what was his name, David Chipman, who's going to be, or who's brought up to be the new ATF director. Do you recognize the name?
Yeah, that was the dude. Wasn't that the dude that took the photo op after all was said and done in Waco?
Yeah, no big deal burning, women and children and stuff.
No, that is him, right?
Yeah.
Because I was listening like I said on Forbes. I was listening to a lot of him being attacked, and so he's the ATF director. He's been confirmed.
Yeah, not been confirmed yet.
I didn't think so, but like there has been a lot of. Tell me what an assault weapon is. Well, but no, and he's all right. I'll let you continue.
Well, you know what? Well, you know what else they're doing now? They're like I said, with the whole fucking Trump pistol brace bullshit or Trump bump stock bullshit. Now, I think bump stocks are fucking stupid. I think they're the stupidest thing, but I absolutely don't think they should be banned. They're just accessories. And now they're talking about banning the pistol braces. And there's a couple ways of approaching that and looking at it. It's like, okay, yeah, it's a workaround to have, like an SBR, which is what the ATF is claiming. And short barreled rifles need to be regulated under the NFA. First of all, fuck the NFA. And fuck the NRA who pushed the NFA, which is the National Firearms Act, and helped them pass that. That's the reason why I won't ever support the NRA. But now they want to classify pistol braces as essentially stocks, and so all the pistols with pistol braces will become immediately short-barreled rifles, subject to a $200 tax per, and so on. Now, of course, they're not going to go around trying to enforce that because they know that it would not go well for them. However, just like the states that say, okay, well, you can have, if the suppressor tax, the NFA and all that, that's about interstate commerce. That tax is based on interstate commerce. Well, you're allowed, like in the state of Idaho, and now I guess in the state, I think it was passed in Texas. I don't know if it was just brought up or if it actually passed yet, but you can build your own suppressor in the state of Idaho under Idaho state law, and as long as you're not selling it and it's not being transferred out of the state, subject to interstate commerce, that's legal.
Right.
However, the ATF can still prosecute you for that. Now, I've talked in my career, I've talked with ATF agents about that specific law, and they said, nah, we're not going to bother trying to enforce it. But if we're trying to get you and you got one of those, they'll use it. So it's all bullshit. One, the ATF just needs to be abolished. The NFA needs to be abolished, repealed. Um, but I will say another way of looking at it is, if suddenly all those pistol braces are now classified as stocks, there are now 20 million short-barreled rifles in circulation in the United States. Now, that seems fairly fucking common use to me.
But dude, I know. Can you wrap this up? Because I got to ask you a question. I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
Well, that's pretty much it.
Well, what is the argument for a short barreled rifle versus a gun, like a handgun? Like what is the difference?
It's easy to conceal.
So is a handgun. So is a fucking handgun.
I know, and that's what's next, man.
No, I want to know, like, what is the argument? Like
what is their argument?
Okay, their argument. Like how are they? You know what I mean? Like, how can you look at a short-barreled rifle? Like, because rifle rounds, they're smaller by diameter than pistol rounds.
Well, some are.
Dude, there's 50 caliber handguns. It's okay, so yes, they are a 223, a 308, a 6.5. Like you're talking about a 45 caliber, a 40 caliber, 9 mil. A majority of pistol rounds are bigger than rifle rounds, and I venture to say, bold prediction, if you looked at like ammunition that was sold, I would think that 223 would probably sell the highest, but after that it would probably be 9 mil, probably be 40 cal, 45 caliber. Like after that, I think the next 4 or 5 rounds by caliber would be pistol rounds. So and then when you look at most of the crimes that are committed, whether you want to call even mass shootings are, if I was going to, not saying I would, but why would I take a rifle with short barreled or long barreled? Like the speed in which you can reload a handgun, the speed you can dual wield handguns. You can't dual wield rifles, despite how many, Crisis or GoldenEye games you've played. But what is this attack on a short barreled rifle with stipulations, bump stocks, pistol braces? Like
it's the attack is on guns in general, because they're making it by saying that they're short barreled rifles, which was argued back years ago. Good old Ronald Reagan. Actually, no, I think the short barrel rifles was even before. I don't remember. It's basically so they will have the more names on their list. If people decide to keep them as short barreled rifles, you register it, pay the $200 tax, and they have their list. And when you do that, you also are agreeing to allow them to come inspect you at any fucking time. So,
but my mind is blowing up. Like with, I hate things. Okay.
There is no logic to it.
I hate illogical shit. And if these people, and the only thing you got to say is like they just like they're coming for your guns. Okay, well fine. They're always going to come for your guns, but why are they coming? Like if they were really coming after guns, it would make more sense to go after pistols, handguns. That's where a majority of the crime is committed with. uh, most engagements between you and someone else is going to be pistol range. You know.
Because it's easier to attack so-called assault weapons right now. You know, if they say we want to ban all guns, there's going to be even people on the left that oppose that. And by saying, "Oh, we just want to get rid of these assault weapons." Oh, well, these are now short-barreled rifles. We need to get rid of them. That's the kind of shit. It's baby steps, man. Yeah, it's a slippery slope, and people always say, "Oh, it's a slippery slope fallacy." You know what? There's a line between fallacy and fucking history.
Mm.
So it's baby steps, taking little things, making change in increments. Okay, well, and that's why I was so opposed to the fucking bump stock thing, even though I think they're fucking stupid. I think bump stocks are the stupidest fucking thing. If anything, just get yourself a fucking uh, mechanical reset trigger and and have fucking fun. Um, this
My argument was like I think Trump was put in a hole with that whole thing, that Vegas shooting, and I don't believe that former President Trump was a genius by all means, but I do think that he had a lot of people that, unlike our current administration, he had a lot of people around him that knew shit, whether he agreed with him or not. And I think a lot of people were like, somebody up there is like, people really don't use these. You got to show people that you're doing something. You're not going after guns, you're just going after the bump stocks, because you and I both agree that you don't need a bump stock. It's kind of stupid, because it relies solely on like the recoil of the weapon and blah 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 blah, and it's like there's a lot of things that could go wrong, and you bump firing something, if you don't know what you're doing or you don't have a lot of practice, it's just not as effective. So I think like that in itself, banning bump stocks through executive order, executive action, or whatever, uh, was it silly? Yeah, it was pretty silly. Was it infringing? Yes, it was infringing. But I don't think, and it was repealed by the Supreme Court anyway. So it went up to the Supreme Court, and it was overturned. So it was just kind of like something he had to do to show that like he gave a shit. I think that's the best way I could put it. He infringed on your rights. The Supreme Court held up your rights. California infringed on your rights, and it just took 30 years. In this case, it only took the Supreme Court like 2 years. So you should be happy for that.
on top of that, well, part of the reason it needed that 30 years because ARs weren't as popular back then. They were a lot more expensive, harder to get, so on and so forth.
Mm.
Um, so now they're the most common rifle in the country, probably most common firearm in the country, and definitely meet the common use requirement. So so I've got two ways of thinking about this,
Okay.
about the pistol braces, which is, it'll be interesting to see if it actually goes through, how it's going to be presented, how it's going to play out, because suddenly short-barreled rifles are now common use. 20 million in the United States is pretty fucking common.
Mm-hmm. And shorters is shorter than 16 or what?
Shorter than 16 inches, 16-inch barrel.
Right.
And in their proposed rules, they came out with a point system for for how you would calculate to see if your brace is really a brace or a stock. And there's like, I don't think there's any possible way of passing that. You get a point if you don't have a fucking sight on the rifle or the AR pistol, and you get a point if you have one. So you get points for having optics on there. It's and RMR sights are more and more popular on pistols these days. Like just your standard, pocket pistol kind of thing. 1911, whatever, Beretta. It's dumb. What they're doing is dumb, and it is purely a way of reclassifying something so that they can take them away.
Yeah.
But I will say this. Well, man, I'll save that for the final thought. I want to save that for the final thought. No use in. We'll make the YouTube person listen to the whole thing before they ban it.
Or they just fast forward to the end. That's probably what they do. Let's get the last 5 minutes before the national anthem's playing and the American flag because that triggers me.
Yeah.
I saw a really good tweet on that. Said if the American flag triggers you, you're in the wrong country. And I was just kind of like, ah. And then I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, dude, like what other country, as imperfect as it is, because there are a lot of imperfections, but you can be gay, and it's okay. You can be straight. Well, maybe you can't be straight, and it's okay. I don't know. It depends on who you ask. But there's a lot of things.
There,
Hmm?
go ahead.
No, I was saying there's a lot of things you can be in this country, and no one's gonna kill you. No one's gonna put you in jail. No one's gonna fine you. Um,
There's a lot of vitriol towards the flag and stuff like that, and oh, it represents a imperialist society, blah blah, racist country, blah blah blah. And even people on the libertarian side are like, fuck no to the flag and this and that. I don't support the flag. I don't this and that. And me, I don't believe in the Pledge of Allegiance either because it's I'm not swearing allegiance to the flag or to the country. Um, but I do respect the flag, and I will still display the flag on special days, and uh, because of the idea that it represents, that it represented, the reason it was created, the founding ideals of the nation, which I still think are fucking great. It's just fucking politicians had to go muck around and meddle in our affairs. So, there's a lot of people who take offense with the flag, and even on the libertarian side or the, you know,
really, on the
yeah,
libertarian,
hmm they tend to be the further, ANCAP, anarchist leaning libertarians. But I'll be honest, I'm an anarchist leaning libertarian at this point. I am just about done with the Libertarian Party and just pretty much over the whole fucking thing. But I don't agree with, I think it's anybody's right. I think, it is just a fucking, piece of cloth. Um, but I still respect the flag because of the idea that it stood for, the founding ideals of the nation, which was that we are all free individuals. So I don't know.
hmm.
But yeah, I agree. If the flag offends you, well, you're in the wrong fucking country. You know,
I just what gets me is about these people is like nobody's keeping them here. This isn't like Russia or China. Like you can move, like then to go move.
well, except it's
Go.
harder to immigrate to other countries than it is to come here.
Oh, because we're so oppressive. I saw another tweet. I've been poking on the Twitter a little bit lately, and because I'm stuck bottle feeding, So I was like, all right, well, what do we got to do? Can you hold this? You can hold. Oh, he's holding it. Great. And somebody brought up a good point. It's like if this country is so racist and this and this and this and this and this, all these isms, ists and isms, then why are we just letting millions of people immigrate here illegally? Why would we do that to them? And I was like, yeah, why would we let all these people come to this country? If you cared so much about people and their feelings and their well-being, and yet this is a terrible place to live, like why are you letting all these people in here nonchalantly by the tens of thousands, monthly? Why would you do that
Because
to
the,
them?
the people who are saying that want more people to be able to come in and vote for their supreme overlord.
Undocumented
and
Democrats. Yes.
and the those in power really don't give a fuck because they're more tax slaves
Yeah.
is,
Well,
is what it is, man.
they'd only be tax slaves if they were actually legally here and had a social security number.
Not, but if they're like the migrant workers that are illegally here, they have the fake socials and taxes are still taken out and paid
That's
to,
true, but those
and
aren't the.
while they're living here, they're still paying sales tax and so on and so forth. So even with a false identity, they're still paying taxes.
No, you're right about them, but what about the people that have been coming over the border since the 20th of January? Those people aren't migrant workers overstaying. You know what I mean? Those
Are they
definitely are.
are they
Well, because they
are they
get.
still in?
What's up?
No, I'm just wondering, where are they? Are they in society? If they're
Mm,
in society and they start to work, to work, they have to do that. If they are consuming, they're paying taxes.
sure, they're only paying sales tax. That is a safe assumption, and that's of course assuming that they're buying uh, stuff from retail. I could have a garage sale, and I actually did have a garage sale, and I did do the thing where I like offer up or whatever. I just put shit on there that I don't need, but I know someone else can use, and I give like a discount price on it. And I go over there, and they only speak Spanish, or they come over here and they only speak Spanish. So they're asking me how much it costs, and I tell them this much, and I'm telling them like this is my firm offer, or it's a bargain or whatever. So let me ask you, like, is it possible to come to the United States legally, or I mean, excuse me, illegally, or get apprehended at the border, kept in a migrant detention facility because this is what's going on because there's so much cloud at the border right now. They're just processing them faster, and what processing means faster is it means they're getting them out of there in less than 8 days. So they're not having overcrowded cages because they're deporting them. They're bringing them in, and then they're getting them a plane ticket or a bus ticket, and they're sending them to another city, and then they have a court date they got to show up in like 2 to 5 years. So they're telling this person, okay, you have to go to immigration court and decide whether or not your amnesty or your what is that not amnesty, you know what I'm talking about, or
Asylum.
asylum. Thank you. If your claim is valid, which most of the time it's not. Most of the time they come over here, like economic asylum isn't a reason for them to be here. It's persecution for being what Hispanic in a Hispanic country. That you know what I mean. So 2 to 5 years they get a court date, and less than 10% of them show up. And I would assume that of the 10% that show up, most of them get deported anyway. And then you have the other thing that's going on right now is they're not deporting people. So the Supreme Court told the administration that they have to deport them, and the administration, our current overlord, said okay. But then they told all the so you have like the local law enforcement that's actually apprehending these people, and they're like, okay, in order to turn them over to ICE to get them out of the country, basically like stupid shit. Their dental records got to be good. This got to be. So they basically put a whole string of bureaucracy in order to deport these people. So if you tell me that I have this ambition to live in this racist country, terrible country, and I come over here illegally, like the only thing I would probably pay, I mean, because I could go get it, dude. Right now I got a lot of work on my house. I got a baby. I got 7 animals. I got a woman. Like, maybe I want my free time. I can probably go down to Home Depot or Lowe's and look for somebody that only speaks Spanish, or hold us. I mean, I can go somewhere and I could find someone that will work on my house for dirt cheap, for free, or not for free, but dirt cheap, under the table,
Cash.
cash. Thank you, cash. And when they buy stuff, you don't have to buy. I mean, like, probably food, maybe some food items, but most of these people that buy things, because I'm right here, dude. I am pretty damn close to the border, and there's a lot of people here. I don't ask for papers, dude. That's not my job, and I ain't about that. But there's a lot of people here. Like, you can kind of tell by the car they drive, the clothes they wear, people that buy stuff from you. You know, they're probably not legal. I would lean 60-40, because it's highly unlikely at this point that you've been in this country for 2 years. We'll say 2 years, 3 years, who knows how long. Like, how do you come to this country legally and not speak English? Is that not part of the citizenship test anymore? Like, you don't have to speak English. You could
I
just
don't know.
you could speak Turkish or Armenian or Chinese. You can get by. Is that like, okay? To hell with who your representative is, what history is, but There's a lot of illegals here. I don't fuck with them. You know, I'm not the federal government. It's not my job to enforce immigration laws. And if you're not hurting me directly, if you're not attacking me, or then we don't really have a beef here. Then you do you. But the minute you try to steal my shit, whether you're American or not American, we'll have a problem. But it's totally possible. They come over here. They're in that detention facility less than 8 days. They get shipped to fucking St. Louis. They get shipped to fucking somewhere in the middle of California. They get dropped off, get a court date, show up to this court at this time, see if you could stay here, and then they just don't show up. And then there's a warrant issued for them, but a summons, a warrant, something issued, but like at this point, like you're looking at like almost in the 20s of millions of people here illegally. But this is a racist country. There's a lot of bad things going on here, and people want to still come here. So, maybe we should send these other people home. It's such a bad country. Nothing good to say. But yeah, hey dude, good luck on your surgery.
Yep.
Good luck on your hanger.
Oh fuck! I'm so starving.
I feel sorry for your wife. I really do.
Yeah, she already said she's having dinner after derby practice outside. She's like gonna go eat elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, you keep me posted. Let me know how it goes. I think next week's show will probably be Monday or Tuesday. I don't think because my dad's coming in on Friday afternoon. I don't know when the woman's family's coming in, so it'll probably be Tuesday or Monday night. So, did you want to hit us up with that knowledge and then the final word, so we can get the shit show on the road?
So the final thought.
Well, you had the thing you were gonna say before the final thought.
Yeah, no, that's just gonna be my final thought.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, that's it. That's the show. Final thought time. Well, well, I would never advocate violating the law or doing anything like that. And in fact, advise against such actions against our great overlords and politicians and so on and so forth. If this bump or not bump stock ban, but if the pistol brace ban comes through and you're suddenly find yourself in possession of an illegal short-barreled rifle that you have to pay the government a tax to continue to possess, and decide that you're not going to, which again I advise against. Just for the record, the penalties for having an illegal short-barreled rifle and the penalties for having an illegal machine gun are the same. Just saying. Oh, and taxation is theft.
Thank you. Well, that is all the time we have for this week. Thank you everybody for tuning in. If you could go ahead and leave a like, subscribe. I mean, dislike if you want to. Comment, share with your friends and family. We'll be back next week. Time to be determined. Depends on my situation and Darian's situation. But anything for the greater good, sir?
That's it.
All right. Well, we'll see you sometime next week. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jake.
I'm Drake.
This is Jake and Drake Show.